Shabbat Shalom. Join us in song.
Ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la ya la 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 la, ya la la la. Ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la. Part two. Ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la la la. Try that one more time. Ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la la. Ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la la I would like to direct you to your song sheet that hopefully you picked up as you came in tonight. And we're going to go to the side that has lots of Yiddish on it. This is a song called Alle Brüder, All Brothers. It is a song that comes from the early 20th century but was made anew by the wonderful group The Klezmatics. And now we're going to sing it with you. And Susan's going to help lead this. The chorus is the part that we really want you to sing. And it only has one word in it. And the word is one that you've probably said a lot. But you're going to say it in a joyful way tonight. And the word is, oi. All right, so you're going to go like this. Oi, 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 oi. One more time. Oi, 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 oi. That's the chorus.
Und wir seien alle Brüder, oi, oi, alle Brüder. Und wir singen fröhliche Lieder, oi, oi, oi. Und wir halten sich in einem, oi, oi, sich in einem. Also Christus nur Tobak keinem, oi, 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 oi. Und wir seien alle einig, oi, oi, alle einig. Sie mir seien viel zu wenig, Zoi wie Rochel, Rus und Esther, oi, oi, oi. Und wir seien alle freilich, oi, oi, alle freilich. Wir sind unter Vita Melech, oi, 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 oi. Oi, 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 oi. Oi, 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 oi. Oi, 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 oi. Oi, 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 oi.
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 Well, good evening and welcome to our annual LGBTQ plus Pride Shabbat. A year after the Stonewall riots declared a public fight for LGBTQ rights beginning on June 28, 1969, from 1970 on, the community marched in recognition of the ongoing fight for continued equality and a celebration for who we are as LGBTQ plus individuals. The first gay pride flag was created in 1978 in San Francisco, and more recently, over the past 5 to 6 years, has seen some updates. These updates are reflected in this brand new Jewish LGBTQ plus pride flag displayed on the bima tonight with a Jewish Star of David in the center joining the standard rainbow design. The Star of David is made up of black and brown stripes. These represent the racial diversity of both the Jewish and LGBTQ communities, along with the blue, pink, and white colors of the transgender pride flag. When we recognize diversity and make inclusion our genuine practice, we build a richer community for all of our congregants and community. Through our recognition of LGBTQ plus pride this month, we give voice to our LGBTQ members and give everyone new perspectives on looking at the world. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asanu b'tzalmo. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, a ruler of time and space, who has made us all in God's image.
שבת ההים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומנעים. שבת ההים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב. שבת ההים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב. שבת ההים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומנעים. שבת ההים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומנעים. שבת ההים גם יחד.
We continue on pages 20 and 21 with Lecha Dodi.
Ya la 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 lecha dodi, ya la 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 lecha kala, ya la 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 pnei Shabbat, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamo vezaho betur echad, hismianu el hamiuhad. Adonai אחד לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה יא לה לה יא לה 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 לך דודי יא לה 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 לכלכלה יא לה 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 בני שבת בני שבת לקבלה לקראת שבת לכו ונלחם כי היא מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נשוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תהילה יא לה לה יא לה 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 לך דודי יא לה 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 לכלכלה יא לה 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 בני שבת בני שבת נקבלה היטורי היברך קומי אורי 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 שיר דברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נקרא יא לה לה יא לה 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 לך דודי יא לה 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 לכלכלה יא לה 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 בני שבת נקבלה. Now we rise and face the back to greet the Sabbath bride. Boi shalom עצרת בעלם גם בשמחה ובצהלה תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי חלה Shabbat nekabela.
We continue on page 26. Yitgadal ve'yitkadash shemei rabam be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei בחייכון וביומכון ובחייתכו בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו יהי שמי רבה מברך לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה יתברך וישתבח ויפאר ויתרומם וידסה ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילמים כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמה ואמרו
Once again, in body or spirit, as we join together in the Baruch.
Ya la 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 Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMivorach. Adonai HaMivorach, HaMivorach Be'olam va'ed. HaMivorach, HaMivorach Be'olam va'ed. Mike.
As the sun sinks and the colors of the day turn, we offer a blessing for the twilight. For twilight is neither day nor night, but in between. We are all twilight people. We can never be fully labeled or defined. We are many identities and loves, many genders and none. We are in between roles, at the intersection of histories, or in between place and place. We are crisscross paths of memory and destination. Streaks of light swirled together. We are neither day nor night. We are both, neither, and all. May the sacred in-between of this evening suspend our certainties, soften our judgments, and widen our vision. May this in-between light illuminate our way to the God who transcends all categories and definitions. May the in-between people who have come to pray be lifted up into this twilight. We cannot always define. We can always say a blessing. Blessed are you, God of all, who brings on the twilight. Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'araviv aravim.
Amen.
Continue on page 32.
אהבת עולם בית ישראל עם כאב
thinks I'm awesome. Scrawls I love you onto birthday cards. Breathes I'm proud of you into my ear. Every time I get up to read poetry, whispers it's okay. Every time someone twists knives into my heart. Loves me the way I want to love my kids. Like everything they touch turns to heaven. Like the power of God resonates from their smiles. Like the sound of their laughter is the only prayer they will ever need. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed.
Please be seated as we join together in the Ve'ahavta, page 36. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadivarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha Hayom alevavecha, v'shinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, b'shivtecha b'veitecha, u'v'lechtecha v'aderech, u'v'shochem-becha u'v'kumecha, u'kshartam lehot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot bein einecha, u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'v'hisharecha leman tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kedoshim le'Elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim lihiot lachem le'Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Amen. We will turn to the back of the book to page 342 where you'll find the words for Miriam's Song by Debbie Friedman.
With the timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced the whole night long. And Miriam was a weaver of unique variety. The tapestry she wove was one which sang her history. With every strand and every thread she crafted her delight. A woman touched with spirit, she dances toward the light. And the women dancing with their timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. When Miriam stood upon the shores and gazed across the sea, the wonder of this miracle she soon came to believe. Whoever thought the sea would part with an outstretched hand, and we would pass to freedom and march to the promised land. And the women dancing with the timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. And Miriam the prophet took her timbrel in her hand, and all the women followed her just as she had planned. And Miriam raised her voice in song, she sang with praise and might. We've just lived through a miracle. We're going to dance tonight. And the women dancing with the timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long.
One more time.
And the women dancing with the timbrels followed Miriam as she sang her song. Sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced the whole night long.
We live in challenging times. When the White House was lit up in the colors of the rainbow flag, our nation made a statement that all people were equal. It's a statement we're still trying to prove day in and day out. Too many of us don't feel equal. Too many of us don't receive treatment that is equal. And whether we are people of color, people who are in the LGBTQ community, people who are Jews, people who are in any way, shape, or form different from the mainstream, still the American promise struggles to reach the ideal of all people created equal. As Jews, we felt this all too closely and all too real, in all too real ways here in Pittsburgh. Today's judgment, though easily predicted, stands as one of those moments where the civil authorities stood with us, where for once our Jewish lives were equal to the value of every other life. We need to go with that feeling and keep moving forward. We cannot sit still with it, because we know that there are too many in our community, too many in our temple family and our own families who don't feel the love and support of equality that is America. And so our challenge this Shabbat is to take a moment and savor what justice feels like, and then to turn it into fuel, to make sure that we can continue to act and grow, so that the White House being colored in the rainbow flag is nothing unusual. It's just a Tuesday. When we reach that moment, then we know we will have lived the words of our prayers, that there will be love and understanding among us, that peace and friendship will be our shelter from life's storms. God, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporech sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all the people of Israel, and over all of Jerusalem. Amen. We continue now as we turn the page to 44 and join together in song.
Let Aleinu, Sukat Shlomeha, Hashkifenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Hashkifenu, Leshalom. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
And now page 44, Vishamru. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat la'asot et HaShabbat לדורותם בריתונם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם בריתונם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם וביום השביעי שבת וינפש וביום השביעי שבת וינפש שמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Adonai sefata tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotzeinu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor veHanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Kornei HaKol, V'Zocher Chastei Avot V'Imahot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. מוריד הצהל. מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומצהיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלם. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
We continue silently through page 63, including both the prayers of our prayer books and the prayers of our own hearts. Please be seated at your own pace.
בשלומך tasim leolam, tasim leolam.
Hi, I'm Kate Pesarelli. No one has said that yet. So the poem that I'm reading is by, oh, I think I'm good. Am I good?
Not loud enough.
Oh, I'm not, seriously?
I know, it's never happened
Okay.
before.
All right, how's that? Okay. So the person that I'm reading a poem from, their name is Andrea Gibson, and they're one of my favorite poets. And, okay, so here we go. Queer youth are 5 times more likely to die by suicide. Means you've lived 5 times harder than you should have had to still have a body when you graduate high school. Means hate worked 5 times harder to make your spirit a wishbone. Means when your mother asked what was wrong, you were 5 times more likely to believe you'd lose her if you spoke. Queer youth are 5 times more likely to die by suicide. It means I sharpie my pronouns under the faces of senators who voted to criminalize my kisses when I was 19. I hack high school curriculums and delete every test that does not say what the P in Marsha P. Johnson stands for. By the way, it stands for basically like it doesn't matter what my gender is. I walk through graveyards with a chisel, correcting the names of trans kids whose families said no when asked, "Can you just let me live?" I pace the suburbs and spray paint, editing the welcome mats of homophobic parents until they all speak the truth that they personally burned down the roof over the heads of their own children. Queer youth are also 5 times more likely to offer to walk their younger siblings home from school, to notice the different accents of sparrows, to find an eyelash and spend 20 minutes trying to pick what wish to wish for. 5 times more likely to never outgrow blanket forts. To know there was a word for the scent in the air after it rains. To know that there was no universe in which they would not be proud of their own children. I might cry. Queer youth are 5 times more likely to see you, how you dream of seeing yourself. To write something in the yearbook that will get you through the next decade. To spot a stranger crying and ask if there's anything they can do. 5 times more likely to need us to do the same. Thank you. Not to be a downer.
We turn now to those in need of healing. As a congregation, we pray for those among us, among our circles of family and friends, who are in need of special prayers for healing on this Shabbat. Alex Botkin, Murray Reinwald, Raz Richmond, Ellen Keeney, David Shmuel ben Sarah Riva, Harav Rachel bat Shmuel Ufruma, Aharon ben Sarah, Marty Haken, Erica Lawson, Gary Kaplan, Neil Linder, Jonah Hart, Dana Green, Leonard Brody, Dale Craghead, Aaron Berezovsky, Ira Berezovsky, Richard Krugel, Vivian Picard, Jerry Ann Morgan, Ruth Dudley Carr, Marvin Reedboard, Dee Dee Bentley, Jerry Zoffer, Rose D., Ned S., Stanley W., Hannah, Carolyn Schwartz, Samuel Kaplan, Mel Kaufhold, Alan Oringer, Jill Fullen, Beth Ann Rush. We join together in praying for all of them. If there are other names to mention, I invite you to rise and say those names aloud now. We join together on page 253.
May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishe berach imotenu mekol habracha lahavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam rofeh hacholim. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, healer of the sick. And now some moments for good things, birthdays, anniversaries. Who's got a celebration or something good to share? You're going to have a sleepover with Aunt Susie?
And Aunt Cherie.
And Aunt Cherie too?
Yeah.
Sounds good. Are they going to make you pancakes in the morning?
They are now.
They are now.
The band I sing with, Infinity, took part in a fundraiser called Making Minds Matter, and we had 450 people in attendance.
Nice.
I'm in from Houston, Texas, visiting my grandma, and so
Welcome.
I'm just happy to be here, and it's also her birthday, so.
Happy birthday. Many happy more.
I'm here from Ohio visiting my friend, and this is my first service, and I'm so happy to be here with you all.
Welcome. Good to have you here.
Our grandson just graduated from Alderdice yesterday.
Mazel tov. No, you have something? I walked right by you.
Yesterday on summer camp, I found my friend from kindergarten that I haven't seen in a while.
Wow, nice. Nice.
Hi, next weekend our daughter gets married, and 4 days after that, my husband and I celebrate our 41st anniversary.
Wow, mazel tov.
My parents are celebrating their 19th anniversary together,
They are?
supposedly.
When?
I just moved here from Boston 2 weeks ago, and it's my first time here.
Welcome. Good
Thank
to have
you.
you here. Lizzie, you got something good? You got something good? Yeah, what?
It's I heard a thunderstorm last night. It was so loud, and I'm
Is that good news?
yeah, and I heard the bad thunder.
Is bad thunder good news?
So I just don't like the thunder.
I know you don't like the thunder.
It's kind of scary.
Uh-huh.
And I was a little afraid.
Uh-huh.
So was my puppy.
Uh-huh. But is that good news? No, that's not good news. At 2 o'clock in the morning when you woke us up, was that good news?
Jan and I will be married 7 years on Sunday.
Mazel tov. Did the thunder wake you up too?
The thunder did not wake me up. Today I bought a plane ticket to return to Milan and see all the friends that I had the opportunity to meet at Lev Hadash.
Nice.
When was it? November.
Keep working on your Italian.
Shout out to all the Geminis. It's my birthday tomorrow.
Happy birthday. Nothing good? Nothing good. I know you got nothing good. Let's sing.
Shalom bimroma, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, imru amen. Yase shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. 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 Yase shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
This evening, we are honored to have a number of people who will be sharing thoughts with us. Come on forward.
Yes, you are leading.
Good evening. My name is Elliot Oshry, and my reading tonight is entitled Reflections of an Aging Gay Jew. The subtitle is, It Was the Best of Times, It Was the Worst of Times. In so many ways, I've lived a very privileged life. I've known that I'm gay since I was a very early young child, but I grew up at a time when this was not the topic of polite conversation at home or at school. So I played by the rules at the time. I tried out for sports, unsuccessfully. I dated girls in high school, unsuccessfully. I dated girls in college, unsuccessfully. The rules were actually very simple at that time. Long before the military adopted it, the rules were don't ask, don't tell. Gay bars were located in the seedy sections of town and only got busy very late at night when there was a limited opportunity of being seen by friends or family. And while my mother and I never had the conversation, she knew what I could not say and what she did not want to hear. She knew all my close friends were men. She referred to them as Stephen and David, Russ and Lee, David and Nick, without prejudice. They were often guests, welcome guests in our home. But the word gay was never uttered. Uttering the word gay would reflect a failure on her part as a single parent. My older brother came out much later in life than I did, and as a public school teacher, the rules for him were even more strict. He could have lost his job just by being gay. We had good friends and a good, if clandestine, life. The best of times, maybe. Then came AIDS, and everything changed. So many of my friends died, and all of a sudden, everyone knew they were gay. Some were motivated to tell their families so that the AIDS diagnosis was not the first time their parents learned that they were gay. And for their honesty, too many were thrown out of their parents' homes. But others found love and support, and were no longer afraid to acknowledge that they were gay. My brother and I were so lucky. When we did tell our families, no one was surprised. I was surprised. They weren't surprised, but they weren't surprised. There was no judgment. There was only love. My brother and his husband, Bart, have been married for 45 years. So what was the worst of times for so many were not for me. But my story, and perhaps your story, continues in many ways and is going in the wrong direction. Would any of us have believed that in the year 2023, we would hear mainstream politicians espouse a platform that includes, quote, gay men and lesbians are filth. Jews control the global financial system. Abortions are abomination before God. These are direct quotes from mainline candidates for political office. Would we ever believe that books would be banned from school libraries because they include a gay character? Or that trans people would be denied medical care and support in the richest, most liberal country the world has ever known? AIDS doesn't even compare to the deadliness of the current political climate. There is no vaccine. There is no cocktail. There is no cure for hatred and bigotry. I was 75 years old before I understood what white privilege really means. At its most basic level for me, it meant Linden School and Alderdice. It meant Squirrel Hill, being welcomed in a diverse community, and Temple Sinai. I never had to be afraid of a policeman. I was never shot at because my ball went into the neighbor's yard. I was never denied a job or opportunity because of my color, my religion, or my sexual preference. I have never felt the sting of overt prejudice as a gay man or a Jewish man. My family, my friends, my Temple Sinai community are safe havens for me. But so many others have a more painful history and fewer places of sanctuary. They are more vulnerable than I. I was encouraged 2 weeks ago when Rabbi Feldman expressed optimism at our government's prosecution of the Tree of Life murderer. Indeed, our government is finally defending our right to life, liberty, and the freedom to be Jews. But our government, in my opinion, has never been so frail, at least during my lifetime, as it is today. Would this trial be happening at all under a different administration? So today I fear that for the LGBT community and for the Jewish community, the worst of times may still be around the corner. And if those communities are in jeopardy, all communities are in jeopardy. We cannot afford to be apathetic or disinterested. Our freedoms are in peril. So I'll end tonight as I began. Being on this bema tonight is further evidence of how incredibly blessed I am at being an aging Jewish gay man. And I pray the same for the next generation.
I'm Eli Kerslasky, and here. To quote one of my favorite queer poets, Andrea Gibson, "It hurts to become." When I began questioning my gender, I kept it to myself for as long as I could. I lived 99% of my life as a girl, with my family, among friends, in school, in public. But there was 1% of me, the part of me that lived in my head, where I led a different, super secret, private life where I was a boy who I knew I couldn't, at the time, or maybe ever, introduce to anyone else. Coming out to myself was a difficult and grueling process. As I navigated the journey, I had two warring thoughts. First, I can do this. Then, I need to do this. Knowing that I could become my true self was freeing. It gave me a sense of hope and relief. Knowing that I needed to do this to be me was beyond terrifying. I was afraid and overwhelmed as I came to terms with the fact that to be comfortable in my own skin, I would be opening myself up to a harder, more complicated, and potentially more painful life. I come back to that quote by Andrea Gibson. It hurts to become. The thought of staying as I was horrified me, but so too did the idea of starting over. Will I ever become myself? How will I get there? Will I ever get there? For a while, I soothed my worries by trying to convince myself that I could be content to just live my life in my head. I fantasized about never coming out, if only to avoid what seemed inevitable, uprooting and burdening the lives of my loved ones. In college, I slowly came out to close friends on campus, but largely the avoidance of who I was persisted. I lived my true self in my head and pantomimed a socially acceptable self for everyone else. It worked for a while. In my junior year, I just broke. I went to student health for an urgent same-day appointment, complaining of newly acquired and semi-frequent feelings like my heart was jumping out of my chest and like I couldn't breathe. The doctor there informed me that these were not, as I had so naively assumed, heart attacks and signs that I was about to die. Rather, I was having panic attacks. She asked if there was anything new or different in my life that could be causing this sudden increase of anxiety. I thought for a few moments, then hesitated and said, "Not really. I think I may be transgender. I live at home, not out to my parents, so I'm a girl at home and a boy when I come to campus." Amazingly, my doctor kept a straight face and asked, "So you don't think the stress of all that is causing you extra anxiety?" Oh. It terrified me to know that I was losing my ability to hold on to my fantasy of never telling anyone. Speaking my truth terrified me too. I'm several years away from being that boy just beginning this journey, his journey, and yet I still find myself rife with competing feelings. Though I desire to feel part of a community, I struggle with the reality that finding community is often dependent on being willing to be visibly out, something I have less and less interest in considering our increasingly divisive political climate. Sometimes I wish I could show my younger self that we've made it. I want him and all trans youth to see themselves as a possibility. It does hurt to become, but it would have hurt more to never become. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Susan Blackman. Coming out, coming home. My father was a sweet and gentle man, but such a conundrum. Raised as an Orthodox Jew in Brooklyn, he married my mom and moved out to the Maryland countryside, where I grew up. When I asked him to join me in my brother's guest room for a talk some 25 years ago, he followed me obediently, looking very serious. "I don't know how everything will unfold," I said, "but I finally figured out that I shouldn't have married a man. Matt and I will be splitting up, though we still care about each other. The kids understand what's happening, and they're doing pretty well." He paused, furrowed his brows a bit, and looked up at me. "Okay, I just need to know one thing. Was it something your mother or I did?" "No, Daddy," I laughed. "It's hardwired. It just took me a really long time to figure it out." I was 42. "But I get it now. I just thought I was open-minded." He grinned very slightly and nodded his head. "Well, that's okay then. Everything will be fine." My mother, on the other hand, threw up her arms in mock dismay, asking, "Susan, what will this do to you professionally?" I said, "Ma, I work in the arts. It might even help." To be honest, sometimes it did. Now, my dad was the only one of his 7 siblings to marry outside the faith. And while I had always felt Jewish, I knew the rules, Orthodox at least. You're only Jewish if your mother is. But at my cousin Robert's wedding to his husband, Alan, a pretty well-known temple musician, right, Carol? I finally learned that Reform Judaism embraced patrilineal Jews. So I came to my first Friday evening service at Temple Sinai in 2011. I remember Rabbi Jamie standing up and saying, "I used to think it was fine for a same-gender couple to be able to have a civil service, but I don't agree with that any longer." I gulped and thought that maybe I'd made a mistake by coming here. He continued, "Now I think that a same-gender couple should be able to get married just like any other couple. Full marriage equality." I'm sure he said more, but by that time I was just sitting there quietly weeping. I knew I had found a home. And that, Daddy, is something that you and Mother did for me.
I'm not really sure how to follow that, except to say thank you to all of you. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Thank you for sharing your stories. Thank you for sharing your lives. Thank you for teaching us. I hope you received the announcement page when you entered the sanctuary or when you entered the synagogue this evening. Lots of things going on. One brief note that the temple will be closed on Monday for Juneteenth. Just as our nation is slowly learning to accept people of all genders, we are slowly learning to accept people of all races. And we have finally come to a point where we can recognize that African Americans have suffered in this country. And so we mark Juneteenth as Jews, showing our solidarity with the African American community, showing our understanding of their struggles and our support of them. And so we will resume normal business hours on Tuesday, and I hope you'll stop by and make yourself involved and come and be a part of all the different things that are going on. Lots of different events coming up. Next week, we will celebrate Shabbat along with Watts, who will be leading our service, which means, if nothing else, that I'm out of a job for 2 weeks. That's all right. That's a good thing. Our service continues now as we turn back in our prayer books to page 282. We rise in body or spirit for Aleinu L'Shabeach.
Aleinu L'Shabeach Ladon HaKol, Latei Gidula Yotzeh Bereshit, Shelo Asanu Kigoyei Ha'aratzot, V'lo Samanu Kimishpechot Ha'adama, Shelo Sam Chelkeinu Kahem, V'goraleinu Kechol Hamonam, V'anachnu Koreim, Umishtachavim Umodim, Lifnei Melech Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, V'ne'emar V'haya Adonai L'melech al kol haaretz Bayom hahu Yihyeh Adonai echad U'shemo echad.
Please be seated. We pause now to recall those who came before us, those who gave us life, those to whom we gave life. We pause to recall those whose yahrzeit occurs in the coming days. As you hear the name of your loved one mentioned, we invite you to rise. Bessie Barkley, Sylvia Barman, Stanley Bushkoff, Robert Bob Cochran, Erwin Engel, Harold Farkas, Irene Gershbein, Herman Greenberg, Ann Unger Greenberg, Belle Grossman, Barbara Horowitz, Janice Carlton, Philip Carlton, Joseph I. Katz, Hannah Kovanik, Betty Lampenfeld, Shirley Levinson, Rose Buddy Leventhal, Robert Levine, Robert Littman, Norman Malikoff, Phil Moskowitz, Suzanne E. Moss, Raymond Nathan, Edith Schwartz-Netzer, Ann Margolis Parker, Harry J. Price, Rose Ratner, Margaret Reber, Norman Rosenfeld, Ann Nauhaus Rosenson, Barbara Rubenstein Rosenzweig, Joseph Rubin, Simcha Sabin, Florence Safran, Minnie Shillett, Shirley Gertrude Sigismund, Ann Skiles, Saul Sonny Stevenson, Robert Straussman, Catherine Wiles, Jerry Zawitz, Sheldon Zilber. And to those names, we add the names of those taken from us only in recent weeks: Sue Horn, Michael Forbeck, Beverly King Pollock, Julia Kimes Ecker, Devora Parker, Eileen Klein, and Chuck Cooper. We rise as a congregation and community. We join together in the words of Mourner's Kaddish. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala v'izman kariv v'yimru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevarach le'alam l'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shmei d'kudashah b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush b'chata v'nechamata. Da'amiran be'alma v'yimru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabbah min Shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, huya aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. May God grant comfort to all of us who are bereaved, and together let us say, amen. We conclude this evening, again to the song sheet, to the back side, with ukulele.
Thank you for choosing us over Taylor Swift tonight. You get this. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, and the dreams that you dream of once in a lullaby. Oh, somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly, and the dreams that you dream of, dreams really do come true. Someday I wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind. Where trouble melts like a lemon drops, high above the chimney tops, that's where you'll find me. Oh, somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly, and the dream that you dare to, why, oh, why can't I? There's no like strap on here. Well, I see trees of green and red roses too. I watch them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Well, I see skies of blue and I see clouds of white, and the brightness of day I like the dark, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow so pretty, pretty in the sky are also on the faces of people passing by. See friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies crying and watch them grow. They'll learn so much more than we'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Someday I'll wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where trouble melts like lemon drops high above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow, way up high. And the dreams that you dare to, why, oh, why can't I